In our series on Linux for cybersecurity, we have done quite a bit of introduction, and we are now moving fully into the practical realm. And right now we have installed our Oracle VirtualBox manager, and I said this is the hypervisor that will carry the virtual machine we want to create. So the first thing you need to do is to go ahead and download Ubuntu. We'll be using Ubuntu for this training, so go ahead and download Ubuntu. That's the distro of choice that we have. And if you look let me go back. Okay, so you go to ubuntu.com/download/desktop, and you select Ubuntu 2024.042.0.4.2 LTS. LTS stands for long-term support, and you can read what is here. It means 5 years of free security and maintenance updates, extended up to 12 years with Ubuntu Pro. So if you have Ubuntu Pro, it's going to be up to, the support will be for 12 years. But for free riders, it will be security support and updates for 5 years. And the size of the file is 5.9 gigabytes. So you download this. There is another one down here, that is the latest version, and the latest version is 25.04, and it has only 9 months of security and maintenance updates. Now I know when it takes over the LTS domain, then it will have 5 years. Well, being a new version, they'll still be testing the waters to make sure that everything is okay. So once you download that, I have done that, so I will not be downloading Ubuntu again. So the next thing is either you click new here or you click here. Whichever one you do, you see the same symbol here. It's the same thing. So, and I said for add means you already have a VirtualBox which you want to add to this. You want to bring it over to this VirtualBox manager. So let's create a new. So once you click on the virtual machine, this is what you will see. So let's call it Linux demo, or let's just make it Linux demo. And it says ISO image not selected, so there's nothing here. You click on order and I'll go to my download. That's where I have it. You can see it right here, and it says disk image file. Now you can see that when it comes to it says ISO file. It's an ISO file. So you move on to next, this here, the folder, it will show you where it will be, where the virtual machine will be housed, the folder that will house it or host it. Okay, so here it says VBox user. That is the default username, so you can change it to the name you want. I will say the next demo. Okay, then we create password. Create a password and write it down. Make sure that you have it saved in a secure place so that whenever you want to log in into your virtual machine, you will have access to it. Otherwise, you'll be locked out if you can't provide the password. I will say click guest addition. So let's continue. Give me 1 second. Let me write down my password so that I won't forget. Okay, the base memory is set at 2 gigabytes. That's the memory. You can adjust it. I will increase it a little bit, but make sure it does not go to the pink or red side. It's not as if it will not work, but it may affect the performance. So you can increase this one to 2 CPUs, or you can leave it at 1. So 2 is actually the maximum recommended, but you can do it up to 4. You can use up to 4 CPUs. So let me leave it at 2. Okay, and here now you create your hard disk. How big do you want your hard disk to be? By default it has come with 25 gigabytes, but you can increase it up to 2 terabytes depending on what your system is. So let me just make it 75. Reallocate full size. Use an existing virtual hard disk file. No, I don't have an existing one. And if you don't want to add virtual disk while you are installing, then you leave it. So I'll just leave it like this. Create virtual hard disk now. I'll create it now. So let's continue. Say the following table summarize the configuration you have chosen. So you see the configuration that you have chosen. Processor is 2. You want to pre-allocate full size. I say false, but if you like you can put it at true. Then guest addition, I added that. Alright, so we click finish and let's let it perform its magic. All right, so we still check some of the configurations to make sure that it's what we want, or we do a little bit of walkthrough. Let me do a screenshot of what I have here in case I need to deal with any error. Okay. All right. It says aborted. Why? Okay, let me just click start. Let me see. All right, you see, let me close this out. Now let's go through the settings and see what we need to, maybe our network. So you click on settings, let's see, Ubuntu, yes. As basic. And this description, if you want to describe your machine, and just you don't need to put anything there. I will put ITBS media Linux tutorial. All right, and let's go to the system. Processor, boot order. This is the boot order. If we boot from the disk, from the hard disk, that's the primary choice now. Okay. Pointing device. Let's go to detail. Okay, let's check our processor. Okay. Like we have a 1 CPU and display. Here you can also adjust some of the configurations. Okay. Here, the network. Let's talk briefly about the network types. So 1 second. You see, by default it comes with NAT, which is network address translation. So we have various types here. Let me take the drop down. Oh, we have a bridge adapter and NAT. That's all we have here now. But maybe because of the choice, let me go back to general. System, motherboard. Let me click on this. Let's see what will happen. Let me go to network. If that will, no. So network address translation, that's, you choose that because that comes by default. You choose that if you just want internet access on your Ubuntu machine, but the machine will not be visible on your local network, so it will not be able to interact with other devices on your local network. Or bridge adapter, that the VM, the virtual machine, will act like a physical machine on your network. It will have its own IP address, and it can communicate with other devices, other hosts on the network. So it is very useful for things like SSH server. So I'll just leave it at that for now. You can change it later. And I'll go to, let me see, share folders. No, there's no folder here to share. Let me try and start again. Okay, let me see, not in hypervisor partition. Okay, I have to look into this. These are some of the things that you look into, or that you come across. Intel virtualization technology. So if that corrects it, that means that's the problem. So let's start it again. Let's see whether the aborted will go away and the machine will run, or the problem will persist. One thing about this journey is when you start okay, that corrects it. So when you start installation and other things like that, if you encounter any problem, just look at the error given and research into it and see how you can correct it. And that's what I've just done. And why I like this kind of a thing is it prepares your mind and it shows to you that if there is problem, there is always a notification about the error or what the error is, and you can just put it in Google, put it in ChatGPT and things like that, and it will tell you exactly. All right, so it has loaded finally. Here we are with our Ubuntu. We are not done yet, so it's preparing to install Ubuntu for us now. Let's just wait. We still have a long way to go. A long way in the sense that we'll still be required to select the configuration specifications, like what language, what kind of keyboard do you want to use, and things like that. Once we complete that, then it will start installation, and that will take quite a bit of time. So when you are installing, you just have to have patience with it, or you set it up and come and go about doing other important things, then you come back to check it. You can read what you have on the screen. All this, just leave it, let it continue to do its own thing. Don't try to stop, don't try to do anything. Some of these are just mere adverts or information about the applications on it. Don't click on anything, just keep watching. At this point, it doesn't need any help. installed. So let's try and log in and see how it looks. It takes a lot of time to finish the installation. So if you are installing Ubuntu, you have to be patient. It might take about over 1 hour or 2 hours, thereabouts. So welcome to Ubuntu LTS. Complete your setup with additional settings as well, and we'll have you up and running. So it's here right now. Say next. As if you want Pro, enable Pro, we'll say skip for now. It's already in skip for now. If you want to enable Pro, you just click on this. So I'll say skip. Help improve you share share system data with Ubuntu team. Can do that so that they can use it to improve. If you don't want, you just will don't share system data, and then you move on. Get started with more applications. If you want more applications, you open App Center. Finish. Okay, we are good to go. Now we have our Ubuntu, and this is where we start learning Linux. Here you see show apps, meaning this is the console for apps. Let me click on that. So you see additional driver, firmware, and disk usage. Also utilities, logs, fonts. You can change the fonts here, characters. Alright. This is the trash. This is the disk. Help. App Center. Let's see the apps we have. Everything for your game. Clean, open source, low latency, that's for this. Explore. Feature snap. Activity Chromium. So the apps are grouped. Let's see the featured ones. But then I'm still looking for the cursor here to see how I can move this down and see. Okay, this is okay. It's a document viewer. Let's go to productivity. I have Chromium. This is like Office, Microsoft Office. See, draw.io, AWS, Wikagov. Okay, Rambox, Slack, so team communication. So you have all this. So when I was talking about the fact that in a Linux you have the kernel, you have the application and layer, then you have the system tools and the graphical user interface. So this one right here is actually graphical user interface. That's why we are able to interact with all these icons right here to lead us to where those resources like the app, the files, the disk, and the trash are all located. Alright, so let's close the App Center. If you want to close it, just bring your cursor back on it and click on it. That should do it. I don't know why it's not. Then if you want to bring up your terminal, I've mentioned it in one of the videos, just do Ctrl Alt T and that should bring the terminal up. So we have our terminal up now. So to run command as administrator, use root. So user root, that's the administrator, so you have to use sudo. So if you want to, let's run this man sudo root, meaning pull for me manual for sudo root, that's man sudo root. So let's run it. Let's see what's man sudo _root. So you see sudo how to run administrative commands. So anytime you want to run administrative command, you have to start with sudo. So if you don't, you will receive error notice that the command is not found or you do not have permission to run the command. And you can read all this. So super user is SU, super user, that's what it means. Alright, so if you want to go out of this terminal, you can see say manual page sudo root line 1. Press H for help and Q for quit. So let's quit. Let's get out of this. Okay, so that is about that, and let's see what folders are in the directory that we are in right now. See, that's because when we created the VirtualBox, we use Linux demo. When we created the Ubuntu user, we use the same name, so that you now have Linux demo as Linux demo. So let's just say ls. Ls means list directories. So these are the default directories that come with the Ubuntu distribution. So if you want to change to desktop directory, just a cd desktop. Now you are in cd desktop. Let's see if there is anything inside that this cd desktop. What will you use? ls. You want to list what is inside the, see, nothing is in it now. So this is where I will stop for this particular video, and we'll start using preparing ourselves and getting familiar with Ubuntu, and mature to the point of doing some cybersecurity operations on it. So if you have finished installing your own tool, get ready, where the vehicle is about starting now. Alright, see you in the next video. Remember to like the video.